Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm live on YouTube and on TikTok at the same time, so trying this out, seeing the best way to make it work for everybody. If you're here, go ahead and say hello. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for stopping out by. Today we're going to be talking about parenting overall and like the different aspects that come with parenting and co-parenting. If you're new around here, my name is Carmen. I'm a mama of 7. I have 5 children with my ex-husband and then 2 children with my current partner, and then I'm a bonus mom of 2, one of my ex-husbands and one with my current partner. So there's 9 kids. There's a lot of them. There's always a lot going on. And so that's where I'm coming in to kind of just share and give some tips. Yesterday we were talking about scheduling and how to have like a shared calendar and organize yourself. This is going to be a short live, just 30 minutes. I'm on here until 7:30, and then I'll move on to something else that I have on my list. I work with block schedules, and so that's just what works best for me. If you're new here, go ahead and tap the screen, say hello, say good morning, introduce yourself to somebody here, and let's just make some connections this morning. As far as like today's topics and what I'm all about, my co-parenting relationship is not the best. We have our days, we have our moments. You just never know what you're getting yourself into when you're parenting with somebody else, and that's just the reality of it. The person that you date or you marry is not the person that you divorce or leave. Those are two completely different people that you're going to be dealing with. And so there's days where, when you co-parent, you get the, good morning, good night, have a great day text messages after having brief conversations about your children. And then you have other days where, you just don't know the parent that you're dealing with. And that's just a reality of it. It's just about finding a balance between the two and what works best for your co-parenting relationship. If anybody here co-parents, drop some tips that you might have below, whether you do shared calendars so they have access to the same events that the children are going to be involved in, or if you have something different. But go ahead and tap that screen, share the love, share the live, so we can get more people in here and make more connections. Thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate you guys stopping by. So in yesterday's live, to do a quick recap, I talked about co-parenting. I talked about our shared calendar, and that's just something recently that I started. So in the summer, I decided to have a shared calendar that all of the kids have access to, and all of the kids are able to see what's going on. That's something that I implemented last year because I have 2 teenagers who had different schedules, sports, events, things like that. And our rule was if it wasn't on the calendar, it didn't happen. Unfortunately, there's just no way around it. I cannot be trying to figure out or guess where my kids are. So it was very important for everybody to be on that same calendar, and even like date night was on our calendar. Everything was on there. I let it go during the summer because the kids were with their dad and it was just a laid back summer. Now that we're back into the school year, we have to get back into that. And so I went ahead and set it up yesterday. And the way that I do it is block schedules. So, everything from when I'm busy because I'm going to be cooking breakfast. And it's not just cooking breakfast, it's eating breakfast, it's cleaning up the mess after breakfast, it's having some time with the 2 kids that are home with me that are 2 under 2. All of that to kind of make my life easier and where I'm not feeling rushed. And then I block off some time after that just so I can have a breather, because I'm not a fan of being in my kitchen all the time. Like, I can cook, I know how to cook, I do cook, but I don't want to. Like, if I hit the lotto, I would probably hire somebody to cook for me all the time. Um, you know, picking up the house, that kind of thing. We live in an RV right now. We just purchased a home. We're doing some repairs that needed to be done, and it has no furniture. So we're in a tiny space, one thing out of place, and it looks like the entire thing is a freaking disaster. And so those kind of things are important for like the organizational standpoint and to make sure that we're doing things the way that they should be done. Um, and then I am a doula, so I provide physical and emotional support for women who are pregnant, giving birth, in labor, and postpartum. And part of that is making sure that I'm still working my business. And having a baby 2 months ago and trying to get back into it, it's not always easy because you take a step back. Um, for your own postpartum healing and then you jump back into it. And so making time to write blogs so I can push out content, so I can educate women on what their options are, what choices they have, the fact that they can say no because it's your birth and you get to decide. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Tap that screen, share the love. I would most greatly appreciate it. Um, and so, making lunch, starting dinner, all of that we went over yesterday in yesterday's live. And so when you become a bestie, which that box, if you're on TikTok, is right up here. If you're on YouTube, you don't have that option. So you'll want to head over to TikTok to join it. You'll get behind the scenes advice, tips, tricks, and you'll be able to see more of the content that I produce for subscribers only. And so my entire calendar is essentially complete. And then I have some space in between where I don't have anything that I can either take more time to do content or record podcast or whatever needs to be done in between, that I might need a little bit of wiggle room in there. And so that's essentially what we discussed yesterday. Today, we're going to be talking about just the co-parenting side of it. Because if you are joining in now and you didn't hear me in the beginning, the person that you marry or you date and have children with is not the person you divorce or leave once you have those children. They're completely different people. It's a completely different perspective that you now have to take in to account when parenting said children. And so when you are going through the stages, it's important for you to also realize that you want everything written out and laid out the way that you guys discussed it, from holidays, who's going to have the kids, what holiday, from um, breaks, communication and how that's going to be dealt with, school and who's going to deal with that, who's going to leave work if the kids are sick. When we first separated, I moved 12 hours away to a completely different state. I couldn't expect my co-parent to drop everything and drive 12 hours to try to get to the kids. By then, I would have already had them anyway. And for us, we had to let the schools know, like, he's not close by, because sometimes they would call him. And I'm like, I don't understand why you're calling somebody who lives 12 hours away. Like, he's there listed as the parent, but not as an emergency contact because he can't make it here. So when he did get those calls, he would just call me and let me know, like, hey, they're trying to get a hold of you, but they called me, and I would go deal with whatever needed to be dealt with. And it's been a roller coaster because we were together for 15 years. And during that time, like, you experience a lot of things, but once you separate, all of that kind of changes. And there's usually one person who has a feeling about the separation or the ending of the relationship. And that's usually what makes the co-parenting relationship hard, because you don't know what next steps need to be taken and how to work together. So if you have co-parenting relationship, go ahead and drop it below. If you're new here, say hello, tap the screen, share the screen with others. I would greatly appreciate it, getting more people in here so we can, talk and meet and build our village. With that being said, the village is who you build it with. It doesn't necessarily have to be family. I don't have any family close by. And so I'm building my own village, whether it's on social media, whether it's in person, whether it's people that I'm meeting. It's just about making my own village and building my support system. Um, the kids are still with their dad for the weekend. They didn't have school Friday and they didn't have school today. And so I just told him that he could have the kids during that time period, although it's not his parenting time. Because I live 12 hours apart from him when we separated, for us in our co-parenting plan in our divorce, we decided that he could give me a week notice if he wanted to come see the kids, pick up the kids, whatever, because you don't just wake up and say, "Oh, I'm going to drive 12 hours away." Um, so there would be some type of notice, and even then, I was still always willing to work with him within our schedule, making sure we didn't have anything else planned. Um, he's stayed in my home when he's come to visit, so that's never been much of an issue for us. Um, it's more of the getting things on paper. He has them all summer. I don't see the kids during the summer unless I'm down in Tennessee, which is only 2 hours away from me now. And so I would go during the summer when he had them this year and spend some time with them, take them out for a little bit, drop them back off. But parenting in the summer was his time when we were in Tennessee. Um, Now that we're closer, it's easier to actually co-parent and say, okay, I can't take the kids this weekend because I have to work, and you take them this weekend because I just need a minute to myself, or whatever the case may be. It's just important to have communication and build that communication however it works best for you. So if you're new to co-parenting, if that's something that is in your foreseeable future, just take it a step at a time. Like, you're going to have good moments, you're going to have not so good moments, and it's just about um, doing what's best for the kids. You have to learn how to leave that emotion aside. Dylan, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tap that screen, share the live. I would greatly appreciate it. Um, Communication is going to be key, and putting the kids first. There's websites and apps like Talking Parents, where if you're having difficulty parenting, or you're parenting with, somebody difficult, a narcissist, whatever the case may be, everything is put into that app. All communication, all requests for money. Let's say, like in your parenting plan, each of you is responsible for 50% of sports or extracurricular activities. Everything is handled within that app, so it just makes it easier for you to um, show the court, should it ever get to that point that something's going on and that something needs to be addressed. So that's kind of where um, we've gone at times, where I push towards having the app. We usually figure it out before then, but having the app would definitely be beneficial when there's parenting or co-parenting struggles. Does anybody have any tips with co-parenting? Is that something that you're currently dealing with, expecting to deal with, have dealt with in the past? Good morning, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, the Talking Parents app does have a free version of it, and it has a paid version as well. I've always used a free one. It was enough for me. More for our main issue wasn't like the money aspect of it. It was communication, or short jabs, or you did this when we were together, and so now I'm not going to do that kind of thing. And so that's where that's coming in. I'm live on YouTube and TikTok, guys, so that's why my eyes are like going back and forth to make sure I'm answering questions. You ultimately just want to do what's best for your children. I know, for example, like my son, absolutely all of my kids adore their dad, but my oldest son is 13. He's all about his dad and really looks up to him. And so he definitely struggles the longer he's away from him. but it also has to do with, hearing adult conversations that we probably should not be listening to. So the shared calendar that my co-parent has access to is a like clean version, if you will. Like it doesn't have events that me and my partner have. Like it doesn't have our date night on it. It's just one about the kids. Then I have one for myself where it has like my block schedule that my partner has access to. And then my partner and I have one together, whether if we have doctor's appointments, the kids that we share have doctor's appointments, things like that. They're all on. I basically manage 3 different calendars. The kids only have access to their own, like to the kid calendar. They don't see anything else. If I have something that I need them to see, then I'll add it on there, but there's not a whole lot that they need access to. I'm here when they leave in the morning, and so I'll usually just tell them, hey, when you come home from school, I won't be here. I'm gonna be at the doctor's, or the baby has an appointment, or whatever the case may be. But I try to get those appointments done before like it's time for them to come home. Yep, so I'm gonna be live daily at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then live at 8 o'clock in the evening. So this is just a quick live. I had some extra time this morning since the kids aren't here and there's no school. You are more than welcome to join in tonight. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are getting ready for work or just getting to work, and this isn't always the best time to be on live. So 11 is a good time because it's lunchtime, and then in the evenings we've probably already gotten our kiddos to bed. Morning. Thanks so much for joining. I so greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. I am a mama of 7 giving advice, tips, tricks on co-parenting this morning and how we are trying to make it work because every day it's a new challenge. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the shenanigans. It's a quiet morning. The kids are still sleeping. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, my co-parent does know that I speak about our co-parenting relationship. They don't always like it. Hey, Ashley, thanks so much for joining in. They don't always enjoy conversations because I don't sugarcoat it. Our relationship isn't always the best. I do be careful on what I say because every once in a while you'll see my kids pop into the live. So I feel like as long as I'm being respectful about the relationships. Hey, Julie, thanks so much for joining in. Hey, Auntie Erica, thanks so much for joining in. I feel like as long as I'm being respectful about it, and there's just certain topics that I won't discuss at all because they're private, because it's not anybody's concern but ours. I have a few more minutes that I can be on live before I move on to my next task of the day, which is cooking breakfast. And I've been looking for breakfast since yesterday. I mean, we did go out to have breakfast yesterday, but I had my own breakfast planned. Oh my goodness. I'll be live again at 11 today and at 8 o'clock tonight, as long as I'm back from getting the kids, but I should be back before then. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions, tap the screen, share the live with other people. I so greatly appreciate you guys all being here. We have a few more minutes that I can stay online, probably about another 5-6 more minutes. I am not one of these people that can be online for hours straight. I don't even know what the heck I would talk about. And it's not even entertaining right now because the kids aren't awake. At least when the kids are awake, they're like bouncing off the walls and causing havoc. I feel like as parents, we just try to do the best for our children in whatever capacity that may be. And even in times when they don't understand why we're doing something or why we've said something. And I'm sure like we can all relate to growing up and our parents telling us one thing and we're like, and now we're more understanding as to why they said something. My parents never had much of a co-parenting relationship. No. I would be like waiting outside on the front porch when my dad showed up to pick me up on his weekends and get in the car and leave. And that's just not the co-parenting relationship that I want. I've had to do it sometimes when things aren't the best. But at the end of the day, it's all about what's best for my kids in whatever role that may be. And sometimes it's just not necessarily speaking to their other parent. um, Yep, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I so greatly appreciate it. I'm going to be working on social media content today. So if you don't follow us, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even Pinterest because of the blogs that I write and share. So you can find us just about anywhere. I'm an open book, so any questions are welcome. I'm a smartass, and if you can take it, you'll be fine. But if you can't, then you may not like it. There used to be a platform that I used where I could go live on several accounts at once. Like several social media things, and I don't know if that exists anymore. And then when I stream on the podcast, I'm able to give a live link to that as well. I'm gonna have to ask. I have somebody who does it as well. She may be able to tell me what I can use. That I'm not looking back and forth between like the two different screens. Hey, good morning. Inked emo couple, welcome to the live. I hope you guys are having a great day. I am definitely going to be needing an energy drink. I am extremely exhausted. Having a 2-month-old who's constantly up is not always the easiest. So it looks like with this, I'm able to stream up to 8 channels at once. Maybe something that I look into. Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are having a good day. We were talking about co-parenting this morning, and the perks and not so great perks of it. So if you're new around here, that was this morning's conversation. I'll have some more energy when I come back at 11. I have not had anything this morning. I mixed a water and it's literally sitting on the counter behind, like in front of me. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you again at 11. Have a wonderful day, and if you have